What's up guys, it is that Panda guy and I'm here again with another video, and today we're going into this island raid which was completely seen as unwinnable by us, and I believe even our enemies. From what I understand, they had come in thinking it'd be an easy win as well, because for the most part it was Prime and SMHS on our side of the faction board, and then we had two other alliances which in comparison to what we were kind of facing were pretty small, right? They didn't have like a big whale power just spread. They didn't really have a lot of kind of biggish players to fight with. SMHS are kind of powerhouses though, especially when you put them in elite like this. So we knew that we'd have them to rely on, but frankly, we were fighting VWAO, who has Farmer, and Farmer's an absolute beast. He can just swarm all day, he can fight all day. There's literally nothing you can do about him, and we just didn't have the power to kind of hold him off, right? We couldn't hold a tower because he'd ego swarm everything. Our best garrisons typically are range, and my infantry, even though it's like 6.4, has nothing on him, right? Like, I literally can't do anything on a guy with like 6k firepower, 6k protection, or basically that, and he's just a max account, so it's pretty hard to face. And then the other teams were like Mine, and if you guys know who Mine is, they are a monster team as well, and we just had a lot of freaking beasts, Goliathans, that we were forced to kind of face here. And it was kind of seen as unwinnable. And what's crazy is this 100% would have been unwinnable. And I'll give you guys a kind of example of how the map was laid out. So we were in the middle left on the side of the map, right? We had FGO, who was our enemy, on the top side right above us. We had SMHS right next to them, meaning that they were top center of the map. And then below us, we had VWAO, so we had to instantly encounter these guys, instantly fight these guys, which was not really doable for us. So we kind of were just fighting a losing battle to start. And then there was Ace, which was another pretty solid team, which was right next to VWAO, who was also their ally. So if these two had simply built up to the top left 7 and decided they were going to 2v1 us as well as SMHS and just minimize their losses, they would have without a doubt had won this. But the issue is, all these alliances split off in such a weird way. Mine, who is considerably the strongest team, maybe like next to SMHS, they're kind of tied, right? I wouldn't know who'd win in a 1v1 at full power, but basically Mine had built to the side of the map, the corner, to just attack these smaller teams, which I mean is better for kills, which might be their goal. But that basically put them out of the battle, besides a little bit of field work, until the very last day, which made them mostly useless. And then Ace built to the right 7, which meant that they couldn't support VWAO, while SMHS built to the top left 7 and then built down towards VWAO, which gave us a lot of opportunities to just take 2v1s, which is exactly what we did. We would build up because they locked us behind our 6 2 times, maybe actually 3, but 2 times, right? And we had rebuilt back into middle to cut these guys off, or I say into middle, but back up to the 7, we cut these guys off. And what's crazy is we did this both in the same day. So once SMHS had went down and connected kind of near their 7, they were doing a long freaking fight. And then we built up and started burning their towers. And what's kind of crazy is we actually had started fighting them before SMHS had connected. We kind of had given up, and we had started building towards FGO to try to get them off of SMHS's butt, because they were just going to harass SMHS from behind. But then VWAO had started building towers, and they had 2 towers connected into our towers, which were kind of just holding near the 6 or whatever, which they had cut us from, and it was just free burning. And I was like, why don't we just go and burn one of these building towers? So we poured it in, we rallied it, and you're gonna see it in a second. But we are kind of like 2v1ing these guys on the 7. I don't know if you can tell. It was us kind of trying to come support SMHS after raiding one of their ally 7s as well. So we did try to secure them as many Prism coins as possible, because they did get like triple rated or double rated before, meaning that they were already down a bit of Prism coins. So that was a no bueno. But yeah, basically we started fighting VWAO, and SMHS had maybe, let's say, 30 minutes to an hour, because they still had to keep building. And they were building, they were like, guys, just hold on. But at this time, VWAO's field presence was pretty subpar, right? It seemed like a lot of people had went off and logged off for sleep, which was kind of perfect for us. So we were able to kind of just play off that. And although Farmer is a monster, we do have the manpower to hold down someone like that as long as we can, kind of handle them single-handedly. We just can't really, fight him with a full group behind him because we're obviously too focused on killing the hundreds of guys swarming the field while Farmer's allowed to free swarm our tower, which just doesn't work out for us, It's just not sustainable for our fillers and stuff, so it's such a pain. But you see there, we did pop their tower and we started trying to defend ours, so we were just going to swarm out any rally they sent and try to stall. And honestly, swarming these rallies isn't that painful because, I don't know, like, you can trade relatively well, no matter how strong a guy is. Like if you have like good swarmers, but the main issue is always the field because we can't get into a situation where we can swarm out this maxed rally, which means the rally is able to just freely do damage to our tower. Plus he likes to send these range rallies, and I believe the reason he does that instead of a rider, which the rider was trading significantly better on our range towers previously when we were fighting them in the first clip, you could see like how they weren't able to control the field, right? But the tower traded so much worse, and I believe the reason they did this is simply because he likes the AoE to control the field. And since he's still a maxed account, he's gonna trade good no matter what the rally is, right? He's gonna trade good on our tower, even if it's range, even if it's rider. The rider just simply trades better, but he has more trouble kind of field controlling because we'll abuse AoE and we'll kind of just make it difficult on him. But yeah, you do see here, we're just putting up our own fight. It's nothing crazy compared to what SMHS will do later, as you're going to see, because SMHS goes absolutely bonkers. They have like 3 towers they're going to be connected to, just constantly rallying and stuff. And I give it to them because, frankly, I don't think that SMHS was trading all that insane, right? I think that there was almost no way they were trading like that significant to the point where it was worth them to be, rallying those towers over and over and over and over. And the only reason I can assume they were doing that was, one, to either keep the pressure on these guys until they exhausted, or to give us wiggle room, which is exactly what we needed, to be honest. Although I was looking at the fight and I was like, dude, I don't know why they don't just wait for us. I also could recognize that if they stopped pushing, maybe VWAO wouldn't have felt as threatened, and then VW would have focused us, because we freely just connect to their back and we just cut them off from the 7, which just allows SMHS to kind of take control. And then later, I forget, I think VW just kind of pushes us back freely because we just don't have the power to hold them on anymore, and SMHS gets like double pushed by Ace. I don't think Ace actually ended up fighting them in this case because our allies actually ended up kind of managing to hold those guys and keep them stalled long enough. But then FGO pushes SMHS, and I actually thought it might have been the end because I ended up going to sleep that night and I was like, okay, there's nothing more I can do. I just see that FGO is hammering on SMHS, right? They're going hard on these guys, and I wake up and SMHS is still standing like a freaking titan, all right? So we eventually go back in the middle to cut these guys off again, which is kind of crazy because after this, we secure the 7. You're not going to see this in this video, but we secure the prism coins in the 7. I want you to understand, by the way, how raiding feature works. We had raided the 7 of Ace twice, and we had gotten 180k coins, right? And if you don't have your own 7, basically the prism coins you raid go into an invisible vault, meaning that it can't be raided. But if you do have a 7 and you raid somebody, the prism coins just simply go into your 7, which is kind of like why like a lot of people will sometimes wait. If they're not confident they can hold their 7 until reset, they'll just wait to raid before capturing their own 7, because they'll be able to at least secure 90k prism coins. And you also want to secure prism coins because if you don't get into the little ranking that gives you a bunch of healing elixirs and stuff, because you have to rank, which requires you to have even 90k prism coins earned or like had in that day. So we cut these guys off the first time, and we do cut them off the second time and manage to secure the 7. And what's crazy is I actually have to give SMHS so much respect for this, because these guys allowed us to hold the 7. And why I say this is insane is these guys were kind of putting their hope on us, right? The risk at us holding the 7 is we can secure top 2, 3, 4, whatever the case, right? We'll get top 4 no matter what we want. And it'll be great for us because we always get a red merit chest in this scenario. For SMHS, obviously all they have is, I think it's like 180k prism coins maybe, or even 90k, and they're level 7, right? Which means that if they ended up getting pushed back to helipad, they wouldn't share the same fate as us. They would be far worse off. So them trusting us enough to continue to try to support them and allow us to get the prism coins, I just found kind of commendable, since they were fighting, I would say, significantly harder than us. They were trying to push back VWAO quite a bit. And to be fair, we did fight Farmer, and that was the only enemy we got to fight. Whereas they did eat up some FGO people and all that kind of stuff. And I would have much rather fought those guys than freaking Farmer, man. But it was a good fight nonetheless. When you kind of consider how everything turned out and how just insane everything is, right? Because I just saw no world where we were able to come out with a win or have any kind of winning chance, and then you see that happen, right? Like, it's just insane to me. It was a blast. It makes, like, even when I feel like I'm outmatched, when I'm able to have these kind of back and forths this intense and whatnot, it kind of makes the game more fun for me. This last archipelago raid was kind of the same, where I felt completely outmatched, but we were able to have it back and forth with this legion for the whole week, and we almost tried to push in the mid and take the 8 on the last day, the Lush Sanctum, but we failed. I do appreciate you guys, though, for watching as always. You guys let me know what you guys think about this island raid. I yapped, but I hope you guys enjoyed. This was a blast. Thank you to our allies. Thank you to SMHS, especially for your generosity. And you guys have a great day or night, and I'll see you guys in the next one. That's about it. Peace out.